Hi, beauties. I am so excited to share Jennifer's story with you today. When Jen first came to me, she'd just broken up with her ex. She'd been with him for over 2 years and she really, really wanted him back. You know, she was in that really painful place where she couldn't even imagine not being with him and not marrying him. She really thought he was the one. And even though I had one of the highest success rates in the world in helping women get their exes back, as I began to see the relationship dynamic, it was clear that it wasn't the healthiest dynamic between both of them. And that Jen had a process to go through to become the high value woman that she was on the inside and to become that really confident, irresistible feminine goddess that I knew that she was as well on the inside. So, I started working with Jennifer and I helped her actually get this guy back and get back in touch with him and start dating him again. Even though he loved Jen, he still was not wanting the same things in life as Jen did, or at least it appeared to be that way. So over time, Jen started becoming a more irresistible goddess. She started taking control of her life. Her confidence and her sense of, wholeness on the inside was really, really solid or becoming solid, to the degree that I asked her to open herself up to more options. And you wouldn't believe it that on the day that Jen and I ended the one session where we decided that her ex was maybe not going to be the only option for her. He was just going to be one of many options for her. On the day that she opened herself up to that possibility, the very, very next day, she met Michael. And as you're going to see in this interview, Michael is outstanding. He treats her like a queen, and he is literally a dream man. In fact, as Jennifer got into an exclusive relationship with Michael, she saw how differently the quality of the man Michael was versus her ex. And she was, really mouth open, just telling me, Gio, you told me over and over again that there were men out there that were like this. Well, I cannot believe that this is actually what I am getting, a man that treats me like this and that I like this much. Of course, soon after that, her ex found out what was going on. He actually sensed that he lost her, and then he began hot pursuit, and he began telling Jen all of these promises of how he would change, even offering to go to therapy to change himself for her. But by that point, Jen had realized that even her ex, at his very best, was still not going to be the man that she was with now. And so she made a decision to stay in the relationship that she is now, and it's the most beautiful relationship. And I can't wait for you to hear from Jennifer so she can share her story with you, and so you can see yourself in that story from where she was when she first started coming to me, when she was full of anxiety. She couldn't locate her self-esteem. She had so many issues inside where she wasn't whole, and she was operating out of a sense of as I said, that low self-esteem and woundedness, and how she becomes so beautifully whole on the inside and so beautifully feminine on the outside that she truly becomes irresistible and attracts a dream masculine man. So before we get started today, beauties, I want to invite you to join us at our free support group on Facebook called The High Value Woman. All you have to do is go to Facebook and type in the search box, The High Value Woman, and add yourself in. We would love to have you. It's literally one of the most supportive and safe communities. We're growing fast, and we post daily content on there that's going to transform you and change your life. And if you haven't yet, make sure to get my free class below where I teach on this so much deeper, called The 3 Secrets of Highly Desirable Women. It's really going to help you. So make sure to look for that link below, click on it, and get into that because it's good stuff. So without further ado, here is Jennifer's story. Jen, I'm so excited that you're here with me today. Thank you for taking the time. And you have such exciting news and such a beautiful story to share with so many thousands of women, Jen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Oh, Jen, can you imagine, we started our journey together, and I remember, that first time that I spoke with you, it was such a leap for you because I know where you were, right? You were how long had you been with your current boyfriend at that time when you first reached out? Because you had just broken up with him, correct?
Mm-hmm. So we had been together for 2.5 years and had been broken up for about 4 months when we started working together.
Yeah. And how were you feeling?
You're just really, really desperate. I didn't know what else to do, and I didn't want to lose him. And at that point, I felt that I would have been willing to do anything to keep him.
Yeah. Wow. And I guess before we get to the story of how much all of that has changed for you, how were you doing emotionally at that time?
Emotionally, I was worn down. I think I remember saying that I felt like a shell of a person at that point. I was so exhausted. I felt like I'd already done everything possible and just felt hopeless. And but then I came across an article that you'd written that I saw online just by chance, and I think it had something to do with something about finding yourself. Do you constantly find yourself stuck with men who are emotionally unavailable? Mm-hmm. And I totally thought I was going to be reading an article that was reinforcing that I was right and he was wrong, mm-hmm. and he's just toxic and I shouldn't have anything to do with him. And it was not that at all, and it was actually saying that I was part of the problem. And
yeah, totally. I love that.
So I was kind of annoyed reading it, and then as it sort of sat there, I was like, no, there's some real truth to this. And
wow.
It's definitely stuff for me to be working on. So in some ways, I was exhausted and felt like a shell of a person, but that article gave me a glimmer of hope. Like, wow. There's some power that I can take back and do something about this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so touched by that. Oh man, that is amazing. I just remember you were so cute that first time we talked, and I mean that in you're so endearing, and I so felt for you because I knew that before we've done kind of that inner work to strengthen ourselves, there's so much stuff that we've inherited, and we can feel so lost, we can feel so powerless. And you had this man that had been in your life for 2.5 years, and that you were wanting to marry, right? Like the hope had been that he was the one. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel now about him being the one?
Wow, that was a 180. Now I feel after all the work that we've done together, I'm really seeing him for who he is, and he's not what I was wanting or am wanting.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't stepping up the way I needed him to be.
Yeah, amazing. So we worked for some time, and we did kind of like that inner work, and you started going online, and kind of like we guided you through that process through online dating. So tell me about the moment that because I remember you and I having a talk, and I was like, Jen, I just don't see this guy stepping up in the way that you deserve. And it's like you unhooked, like you went to Hawaii, you moved apartments, like you really took your life back, and I think your words were, Gio, it's like something unhooked from him. And
mm-hmm. It's like the attachment broke.
Yeah. How did that happen?
I think a lot of it was talking to you about what that attachment was, because he was showing up in ways that wasn't good, and I knew it wasn't good, but for some reason there was still something holding me to him. And so I think talking with you, we uncovered that a lot of it had to do with lifestyle. Like, I liked the things that I was doing with him, the activities that we were doing, and I felt that where I was living is sort of boring and nothing was happening. And so for me to enjoy life was dependent on him. Mm-hmm. So we talked about plans and things that I wanted to do and make happen in my life. So that was the move. So moving homes, and then doing things that I love again, like traveling, like not having to wait for him to plan a trip with me, just going ahead and planning that trip with other friends. So that was the first big thing. And then I think it was the push to keep dating. It was to do the online dating. I know you're bugging me about it every single session that we had. And it's not always easy to get out there, and it feels like work because you meet guys and you're like, all right, well, that's another miss. But I get it, because once I finally found someone that I was attracted to and clicked with, that was the game changer. Yeah. Then all of a sudden this previous guy wasn't the only option anymore, and the one that I was hoping for. Here's someone else who's actually showing up stronger. Yeah. And I see a lot of potential for it. And then all of a sudden that just broke the attachment. All of a sudden this person wasn't the only one I was hoping for. Yeah, no, amazing. So tell us about, because I remember you told me, like, because you'd been doing online dating, but you were still super like attached to Drew, right? Like you were like really hoping that this was going to happen. And you guys were kind of getting back together. I mean, because when you first came to me, Drew wasn't in your life. You guys had broken up, but then, he started kind of pursuing you again and coming back, but it just wasn't enough, right? It just like, he just wasn't fully stepping in. He was talking about the future, but not talking about the future, and just doing all these things. And then, so the moment that you like almost like energetically unhooked from him,
I think you met Michael like the next day, right? Or something like that.
Yeah,
Like tell us about that story.
Yeah, so Drew and I had gotten into one of our, I guess seems very typical of an argument. And I think through the process of doing the work with you, there are moments that kept coming up where I'm looking at him going, this isn't okay with me, which was different because before I would get in a fight with him and I'd be thinking, oh, how can I be the person that he wants me to be? How do I be the perfect girlfriend? I was always so worried about what he needed and what he wanted.
Yeah.
And so as time went on, Drew was stepping up in small ways, with more of the dates and stuff, but our similar pattern would play out. And I started seeing myself being able to take a step back and going, okay, this isn't good. And maybe this isn't for me and this isn't what I want. And all of a sudden I had worth and value. So we had sort of one big blowout. And for me, I remember going home that night going, this is so ridiculous. And the way he was treating me was so appalling that I felt okay. I actually felt okay going to bed that night, knowing that this isn't what I wanted. And I didn't feel like I wanted to chase him anymore and make things right. And then the next morning I woke up and I actually felt really good about it. Normally I would have been devastated and heartbroken over being in an argument with Drew. And in the morning I woke up.
High value woman, man. Yeah.
Oof. I was like, what do I want to do for me right now? And I was like, well, I think I'm going to go online and, make plans with someone else. And and then I met Michael that morning online and it was just amazing how everything worked out. Like I'd been kind of dropping hints with Drew wanting to go see Christmas lights and stuff. We had a pretty popular display that came in this year and it's just something I'd like to do. And he never ever kind of latched on and wanted to do that with me. And all of a sudden here's this guy online saying, hey, I actually don't have plans this Saturday night. Would you like to go walk around and look at Christmas lights with me?
That's just crazy.
This is perfect. I said, yes, actually, I would love to do that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Then everything just happened quick. It all seemed meant to be. And it happened the next morning, which is pretty incredible.
Okay. Tell us about the whole from, meeting Michael and him asking you to be exclusive in a committed relationship. And through it all, I'm going to ask you to compare it to your old relationship and how much, I just want us to compare it. Right. So, okay. So you meet Michael, then what happens?
Well, I just noticed that he liked to take charge and initiate right off the bat.
So masculine right off the bat. Yeah.
So he enjoyed planning things and paying for things. By our second date, after our second date, he learned when my birthday was, which was coming up in a month. And he learned that I was moving, which was also coming up within that month. And so after a second date, he had called me and told me that he had already booked a moving truck because he wanted to help me move, which really blew me away. Because there's someone helping me out in a way that I needed it the most. And then had already booked a reservation for a special birthday dinner. And it sent me a picture of the restaurant and wouldn't tell me the names. He thought it'd be fun if I just knew what it looked like, but didn't know where we were going. And it was so different from Drew because my last birthday, he didn't plan anything. He didn't even give me a birthday card or a birthday gift. We didn't do a birthday dinner, even though I requested it. I said, can we do a dinner together to celebrate just the two of us? And he's like, yeah, and put it off for months. And it never happened. And it just made me feel so unimportant and unspecial. And
wow, babe. And so, wow. So when he, how would your ex-boyfriend have responded to you moving? Would he have ever booked a moving truck and taken action like that?
No, and actually Drew knew I was moving and didn't ask me, I think, until the week that I was moving, if I needed help.
Do you need help? I hope she says no, but And
then I actually got upset that I didn't need his help. So I told him, actually, I already have enough friends that have offered. And I've got the whole day taken care of. And he seemed really bothered by that. But it was too late though. So I had all the help I needed.
Wow. And so how did it feel to have Michael kind of come in and just take care of you, right? Because before that, would you say that your energy had been more anxious towards men trying to, like you said, figure out what they wanted and almost like taking care of them? And now it's like, I'm enough. I'm a high value goddess and queen, and have this man just show up fully and take care of you. How did that feel?
It felt amazing. And not only was it so nice to be able to take sort of the passenger seat, be taken care of, but he was loving that whole day. And we talked about it afterwards. He was totally in his element, getting the truck and, kind of ordering everyone around how to pack things properly. Like, he was loving it. And so was I. Like, we worked so well as a team. It was so nice to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I think really good for both of us.
Wow. Oh my God. You're smiling from ear to ear, but so am I. I'm like, this is amazing. This is so amazing, Jen. I'm so happy. And so what happened after that? How was the dinner for your birthday? How did that go?
Oh, it was really special, actually. It was kind of cute. He even wrote me an email saying that he was going to come to my house to come get me and drive me to the restaurant because he's the man, and he wants to make the day as special as possible. Wow. And I want to be like, oh, puddle. Yeah. And yes, we came all dressed up, and I kind of wanted the night to be special too. My sister does hair and makeup, so she came over with her daughters, and we kind of had a little girls' night getting ready. And they didn't quite make it out of the house in time, so Michael was meeting them for the first time, and he just thought it was so special that I was getting help to get ready.
Oh gosh, that's so cute.
And yeah, it was really nice. I felt like on top of the world. And all my friends too, they're saying like, wow, this guy treats you like a queen. Like, actually, even on my birthday, he commuted 2 hours to get to my work. And it's gotta be pretty intimidating walking into a school, like in an office where you don't know anyone. And he showed up in a suit and a dozen long stem roses, literally just to say hi and happy birthday, because he had to leave to make it to a meeting.
Oh my God, that's so romantic.
Yeah, so of course all the women in the office were all over it that day. And yeah, they were going on about how polite he was, how nice he seemed, and to put all that effort in just literally to say happy birthday and hello was pretty special.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. So tell me a little bit about how, because you took a long time to tell Drew that you were seeing someone else, right? That there was someone else in the picture, your ex-boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So, because at this point in time, Drew had not asked you for exclusivity, but he might not have been aware that there was a very strong contender coming in. So when did you decide to tell him, and how did that go?
Well, I ended things when I thought was officially when Michael asked me to be exclusive. And what was interesting, I think, is that Drew was kind of like, okay, he was heartbroken over it and he was grieving a little bit, but then all of a sudden kind of came back, trying to leave flowers at my door and cards at my door and coffees at my desk. And I talked to him a couple times saying, like, this isn't going to go anywhere. Like, I'm really set on the fact that we're not a right fit at this time. Yeah. And so he said he decided to do work on his own, like for himself. Mm-hmm. And so he started seeing a counselor. And I think in his head that meant, all right, now I'm ready. I'm ready. I wasn't ready before. And so now you're going to give me a chance. And so it was just this week now that I've had to tell him, like, officially, I'm glad you're doing all the work, but this isn't going anywhere. That there's somebody else that wants to be in a committed relationship with me. And I see that relationship going forward because he is more of where I want someone to be at this time. Yeah. So I'll wait another 6 months or a year for Drew to figure out his own stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So when did Michael ask you to be exclusive? Like, how was that when he asked you to be exclusive? And
I was surprised because for me, I thought it was pretty soon. It was after a second date. But I think the reason why it felt right to be exclusive with him, when he was asking, which I thought, wow, that for a guy to be making that decision so soon, like, there must be something pretty good going on. But we wrote a lot of emails while I was away in Hawaii. And so I think we just kind of got used to writing these letters to each other. And he always talked about feelings, and which was really interesting because we talk about that a lot, and how a man feels with a woman who's in her feminine element. Wow. And he just kept talking about how good it was to be out of his head, to not be doing all the work and just be with me and just feel. And he just kept saying how great it feels to spend time together. And so we said after our second date, he's like, for me, there was no other option except to move forward. So he's like, to me, I don't want to waste any other time. He's like, I want to be in a committed relationship. This is what I want. And
that's what a man responds when he has come in contact with the feminine energy. That's how, and he's ready and he's aligned. He comes in contact. Okay. So tell me more about what he told you about how he felt with your energy, like being around you. Cause I think he said something like it was refreshing or relaxing or something like that.
Really relaxing, that he didn't feel any pressure. Nothing felt rushed, that he just loved the way things were just moving naturally, just forward.
Yeah.
And for him, everything was forward. But I didn't feel any pressure either.
No,
I wasn't wanting anything from him. I wasn't expecting him to ask me out by a certain time. I was literally just enjoying every moment with him. And I think that's how he was then showing up with me. And he picked up on it for sure, which I was surprised. But he did. And he was able to communicate that to me, which was really cool.
So Jen, like for so many women who are showing up on dates really anxious and understandably needy and, unable to just enjoy the ride and be in their glorious feminine energy like you are, because if we even remember back to like our first session, like that level of anxiety, right, that you were showing, how did you get there? You know what I mean? How are you now showing up on a date relaxed and in your feminine?
I think it was starting to learn that it's just better to be me, and hearing you constantly tell me, well, then that guy's not the right fit, or he's not the right, like, stop worrying so much about what he wants and needs and start thinking about what I want and need. And just learning to just show up as myself and just relax. And if he didn't like me and the date didn't go well, then we weren't a right fit. And that's okay. That's completely 100% okay. And so being able to be myself with someone, like one of the things Michael was telling me was he loves how nerdy I can be about things. Like I think we talked about this too, some of my geekier interests, like Game of Thrones and Harry Potter. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. So I was just okay to be me. I was like, heck, if someone's going to judge me for that, well then he's not a right fit.
I love it. When was it? Like I think we were writing your profile and you said something like, what is it? You go to a Game of Thrones concert or something like that?
Concert. It's like an orchestra, symphony orchestra concert.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I don't think I said it, but I read it and inside I was like, my response was like, wow, that's different. And then another side of me was like, actually, that might be kind of fun because I'm also like a Game of Thrones geek, I was like, go Jen. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah. So it's kind of freedom. So what is that? When we're totally ourselves, it's freedom, and femininity is about emotional freedom, about totally being yourself, and a guy feeling like, I'm around a woman who's just totally herself. Like she's not having hooks on me. She's not trying to act in a certain way. She's not trying to, fix me or change me or fix herself and change herself. She's just really, really comfortable owning her worth, owning who she is, and allowing me to be the man, and receptive, right? Super receptive. So what can you think of other things he might have told you about how he's felt around your energy?
Well, I guess naturally then he can be himself too. Which is really free. And I can see before when I was all anxious and kind of uptight and worried about things, that probably made my partner feel like they couldn't make mistakes either or be themselves, that they had to be some sort of ideal man for me to accept them. So he just talks, a lot about that freedom and being able to relax and just be, and he talks about being in his body, being able to be out of his head. Just
that's femininity, feminine energy, embodied feminine woman, right? Like, because it's like a guy's like in his head a lot, and you're bringing him into his senses and his feeling world, into his innermost heart and secrets, and share, that he shares those parts of you in intimacy and vulnerability. That's so beautiful. So how do you feel in this relationship, Jen?
So much better. Like before it felt like, I never knew where I stood, and it felt like I was on eggshells all the time and was worried that, if I wasn't in control of everything, or I wasn't trying to be this or do that, then the whole relationship would fall apart. Whereas now it's just complete freedom. And learning that, we can talk about anything, me and Michael, and already some of the challenges being able to work through stuff and understand each other. And it's so nice to have a partner that actually cares about my inner world too, and how I feel, and wants to step up and just that freedom for both of us to be ourselves without worrying that, oh, things are going to be over and he's going to just disappear. But Drew would, when things got a little bit uncomfortable, he would just vanish. And I would feel so anxious for a couple of days until he would come around. Whereas Michael just wants to talk about stuff. Let's figure this out. Let's have a conversation and let's understand each other. So I can relax. I don't wake up with anxiety every morning anymore. And I think I remember telling you that, I felt like I had more energy all of a sudden. And you were reminding me, well, yeah, like anxiety was your partner for so long. And now with anxiety being gone, like, yeah, I'm going to get more energy and I just feel
amazing.
So much better.
I know, because anxiety was kind of a way of life, right? As so many women, it's their constant companion. So how, to use a cheesy term, like how did it feel to break up with this lifelong companion that was anxiety?
It felt so good. I mean, I kind of see anxiety and Drew as the same thing. Like when that attachment to him broke, it just felt so freeing. I felt so light. Everyone at work, all my friends could tell the difference. They were just saying, Jen, you look so radiant. You look so happy. Like everybody was making comments. It was a little bit unreal. I was like, really? Can everyone tell? But yeah, I guess it was all over my face, and yeah, people could feel it for sure. I could feel it.
Wow. Amazing. And what would you say to some beautiful woman that right now is either feeling like she has no self-worth? So let's go through the 3 areas, right, that we worked on. So number 1, she's feeling really kind of not solid on the inside, and with wounds and with anxiety and codependent and needing all this stuff inside of her. What would you tell her about your journey from there to now, and how, what would you say to encourage women that are in that moment, not feeling confident, not feeling radiant, that need to do inner work, basically?
Yeah, that it's worth it. And there were times where it felt a little bit difficult because it was exhausting and it was changing patterns that were so ingrained. But when we were able to do the work, like one of the things I think that was so powerful for me was you teaching me how to feel my body, what was anxiety and what wasn't. And anxiety being low worth, like that's coming from a low worth place, and recognizing what that felt like, and then recognizing what it felt like when I was coming from a higher worth. That to me really shifted things, because now I knew, as someone who deals with anxiety, that okay, this is anxiety right now.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's best to be doing the work and doing what I need to do to take care of myself rather than chasing after someone.
Yeah.
So it was learning how to stop doing the chasing.
Totally.
That was huge. And then once I was able to recognize that, everything got easier.
Yeah.
Then the work was just around building my life and things that were interesting to me and fulfilled me.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. You're amazing, Jen. I'm like so blown away by you. And so I guess, the encouraging message is that all of us can be a hot mess and then not feel great. And if you do the work, you'll get there. You'll become that radiant embodied goddess that a man's like, I can't get enough of your energy. It's so relaxing. It's amazing. Okay. So that was kind of one area. What would you say to women who are playing the waiting game with a guy who doesn't treat them well, hoping that he's going to finally become that man? What would you say about wasting that time to them?
I'd say, don't waste the time. Go on dates. Because I was doing the same thing and I probably waited longer than I should have. And it was possible to go on dates while at the same time, having him try to step up. So it was possible to do both so that it was not as painful as it needed to be. Like not once did you ever tell me just completely cut Drew out of your life and go through a harsh pain of separation and then go on dates. It was, no, keep Drew around. And, and it was good practice too, right? For me to see how things were shifting for me. But the work at that point was just going out on dates, because after meeting someone that finally I was attracted to, that's when a major shift happened for me.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I'd say just do that. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. And the last question is like, how do you feel in this relationship with Michael?
I feel really happy. I feel happy. I feel that there's so much hope for having what I want in a relationship, the type of life that I want to have with this person. Like, he wants the same things. He has the same values as me. And those are things I think that didn't really line up with Drew, but I was trying to tell myself, like, yeah, they'll fit and they'll work, and we kind of want the same dreams for the future. And, and now meeting someone that actually has all those really in alignment, it just feels right. I don't know. Everything just feels right and safe. I feel like I'm in a more secure relationship, and just good.
Beautiful. Most of my clients, when they really find the one, or they're in that amazing relationship, they say the same thing. It's just like, it's easy, it's peaceful, and it's passionate. And would you say this relationship is passionate? Like, are you crazy about it?
It's definitely got that. Got all the specifics I'm hoping for.
So just to end things, what is a message that you would send out to thousands of women about feminine energy and healing, and about life and love and men? Like, what would you want all these women to know about your journey, to learn from your journey?
Just do the work on yourself. Like, it's so easy to blame the guy for being the bad one and doing all these things to you. And it's so empowering to find out that you have the power to shift things in your life. And that you can create the life that you really desire. And I know it sounds maybe like new age-ish.
No, it doesn't. It's really true.
Really, I mean, having gone through all this, like, it's amazing how far I've come in not so long of a time at all. And I do feel more powerful and grounded and less anxious. And so I just think it's so important to do the work. It's so worth it. It's so incredibly worth it. And this is stuff that's going to affect me for the rest of my life. And I'm so glad that I'm here now, and that I didn't wait, decades before doing this type of work.
Oh my gosh, Jen, thank you so, so much. We just love you at Embodied Feminine Woman Institute. And thank you for having trusted me with your journey. It's been such an honor. All right, beauties. So there you go. I hope you found encouragement. I hope that you realize that there's help, there's support out for you, and that in under a year, in a matter of months, you can completely transform all of your life, your inner world, your confidence, your radiance as a goddess, as a feminine goddess. You can attract dream love, and you can experience having that companion and not being alone, and finally having that partner in life. I want to invite you to join us at our free support group online on Facebook called The High Value Woman. Just go on your search box, type in The High Value Woman. We would love to have you. And again, remind you that free class, 3 Secrets of Highly Desirable Women, is available to you. It was a pleasure to have your time today, and talk soon.